here we go. I already sorted the beads out and picked the ones I wanted to use to make this design. I'm using some precious stones and some metal beads on this little turtle. 2 turtles. So here we go. Pre-cut my 19 strand wire. It's gonna be about 18 inches when it's all done. I use this little clip here on one end to keep the beads from falling off. It's a nice little trick, something you have at the house already. So there's a little turtle. I like the hook option. I prefer not to use jump rings when possible because I just don't like them. I like full circles so they don't come undone. So here I'm gonna split up some of the beads, put the precious stones separate from the metal beads. So I like to start with like where the center is gonna be. So I'm going to use these metal beads on either side of the pendant. So I'm going to put one side on and then add the pendant and then build the other side. And again, I thought this pendant attachment loop was pretty cool because it makes it look like it's just kind of floating on the necklace instead of having a jump ring. You know, and I am a hobbyist, an amateur at this, so I just kind of figured things out as I go. I just thought it would be fun to share some of my tips and tricks and things I've learned along the way. Trial and error. So that's kind of the center of the necklace. It's going to look something like that with the silver beads, dark silver beads in the center. And then I'm going to use the tiger eye precious stone on either side of that. Again, it's going to be about 18 inches altogether. It's going to hang around 10 inches from the neck. So you see a little purple clip. Yeah, that's just, there's, specific things you can buy that have like a little, they're little springs that wrap around the cord. But this little clip works just fine. There's a few tools I've bought along the way, and I'll show you those in a little bit. So yeah, if you like what you're seeing and it's been helpful or entertaining, please hit the subscribe button, or at least the like on the video. It will help me more than you know, and it's quick and easy and fairly painless. So maybe you can do that while we're stringing up these beads. I've always been interested in fixing jewelry all my life. I've always tinkered with different things and taken things apart and made them customized. So recently I just kind of got into creating from scratch. Last year I lost my voice to COVID, and as a singer I had a lot of downtime, so getting into the beading and the crafting was something to help me pass the time and something I enjoy, so I thought I would continue to share it. So here we go. I'm gonna give it a quick eyeball and see how close I am. And I'm gonna need a little bit more on both ends, I see. So now I'm just kind of thinking about what to use at the top. Sometimes I like to put a little pop of color at the top, even though you're not really gonna see it necessarily. It just kind of completes the piece. But I know I need some more of the tiger eye at least. You see some of the tools up there on the right, some scissors, needle nose pliers, crimp tube crimpers. We'll get to that at the end here when we tie off the clasps. And of course a little pair of tweezers because some of these beads are pretty tiny. So here we go, getting pretty close, and now I'm getting to think about the very last little bit of the necklace before the clasps. And I have an idea to use some emerald colored glass beads to maybe top off, add a pop of color, kind of matches the turtle. So we'll see what you think here. Very similar colors there. So I'll pop them on and I'll decide if I like it or not. I'm already telling that I probably don't like it because the difference in the size of the beads is already kind of driving me crazy. I like the color, but I don't like the size difference. So yeah, I'm probably gonna pop those off and try something else. So now I'm thinking, what else could I use right there? I need about a ½ inch more in length. So I'm just gonna go back to my dark silver metal beads. And I'm happier with that tone. Just makes it look a little heavier and more weighted. These beads do have a lot more weight than your standard seed bead. So here I'm grabbing the crimp tubes and the crimp tube covers. The crimp tubes are so small, I just gotta like get in there and grab them. I'm gonna pick out which clasps I want to use. I like to use these bigger ones are a little easier to manage. I like to use a ring and a clasp. I don't like to use jump rings, as I said before. I just don't trust them to not open up. So here's a jump ring that came on the clasp. I'm taking it off, and I'm just going to use the existing hole on the clasp to secure it to the necklace. I like to put the clasp on the right-hand side because most of us are right-handed, and for me, I know it's easier to use the clasp on the right-hand side. So here you put the crimping tube on, feed it through the clasp, and then back through itself. And I like to run it through at least 3 beads. I'm gonna pull it pretty tight, leaving just a little bit of the end open so that the clasp will move around freely. I'm just double checking the movement. I'm gonna get the crimping tool. This does a great job of making sure the wire is on either side of the crimp, and then it folds it in half as well, getting a nice secure crimp. Cut the excess off, and if there's a tiny little bit, it will slide right underneath the next bead in line. Then the fun part. These little crimping tube covers just kind of make it look like there's another bead. Just kind of hides it, makes it a little more professional looking. They can be a pain, so then different tools help round it out. There it is. Now we do the other side. So you make sure all your beads are nice and tight. Not too tight that they don't move freely, but you don't want any gaps in there. Put that little tiny crimping tube on there if you can find it. Run my ring through it and back through itself. And again through about 2 or 3 of the beads. This one I'm going to pull really tight because when I go to find the crimping tube, it's going to release a little bit and give me that slack that I need for the ring to move around. You'll notice here. So I pull it really tight. But to access that crimping tube, you have to give it a little tug. So it's okay to pull it a little tighter. Trying to get it lined up so that when the crimping tube is activated, the wire is on either side of the crimp. So now it's crimped, and then I'm going to fold it in half to make it nice and secure and make the crimping tube small enough for the crimp cover. Just going to tuck in that extra underneath the next bead. Find that crimp and place the cover on it. Those little suckers can be tricky. I think the more I do this, hopefully I get better at maneuvering the crimping tube covers. I use some flat needle nose to round it out and make it look nice. And that's it, really. That's what it takes. And you got a nice sturdy clasp and a nice heavy decorative necklace. I hope you have enjoyed this video and maybe you learned a thing or two about making your own jewelry or fixing something you already have. Please come back, check out some more videos, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.